Good morning. We begin today with breaking developments out of Washington. And for thousands of federal workers, this morning feels very different from the last several weeks. Because after weeks of uncertainty, missed paychecks, and growing disruption across the country, there is finally movement. Overnight, the Senate took action. In a late night vote, lawmakers passed a measure to partially fund the Department of Homeland Security, aiming to restore pay for many of the employees who have been working without compensation. And notably, the vote was unanimous. After weeks of political gridlock, both parties came together, at least on this portion of the issue, to move something forward. But before we call this a resolution, there's an important detail. This is only a partial fix. The bill funds most of DHS, but excludes parts of immigration enforcement, including ICE and some Border Patrol operations. And that's significant because those areas have been at the center of the political dispute from the beginning. Democrats had been pushing for reforms tied to immigration enforcement. Republicans resisted separating funding in that way. And even now, after this vote, those disagreements remain unresolved. So what happens next? The bill now moves to the House of Representatives. And that's where the pressure is building because the House is just about to begin a 2-week recess. Lawmakers are preparing to leave Washington, but doing so without resolving the situation could carry serious consequences, not just politically, but publicly. Because the impact of the shutdown is no longer hidden inside government offices. It's visible at airports, across travel systems, in long lines, delays, and frustration that millions of Americans have experienced firsthand. At one point, TSA staffing shortages caused by workers calling out or leaving due to missed pay led to some of the longest security wait times on record. And that's what pushed this issue to the forefront. Because when essential workers are not paid, the system doesn't just slow down, it starts to break. Now, alongside the Senate's action, President Donald Trump has also announced an executive order to immediately pay TSA workers, a move aimed at stabilizing airport operations quickly. But even that step is temporary because until full funding is restored, other parts of the Department of Homeland Security remain affected. That includes agencies like FEMA and the Coast Guard. Workers in those roles are still waiting, still in limbo, and still dependent on Congress to reach a broader agreement. Back on Capitol Hill, the political tension hasn't disappeared. Democratic leaders are signaling that the fight over immigration policy, particularly ICE reforms, is not over. They say there will be future opportunities to push for those changes. But Republican leadership is taking a different stance, indicating that those negotiations may be finished and suggesting that future funding for immigration enforcement could move forward through a process that does not require Democratic support, which means even as one part of the crisis moves toward resolution, another part is already taking shape, a new phase of the same debate. So where does this leave us this morning? There is progress, real progress, a Senate deal, a path to restoring pay for many workers. But there is also uncertainty because the House has not yet acted. And until it does, nothing is final. So now all eyes are on the House of Representatives. Will lawmakers stay and pass the bill before leaving town? Or will this issue carry over into the recess and prolonging the uncertainty? Because for the workers affected, for the travelers impacted, and for the systems under strain, time matters. And this morning, while there is movement, there is still no full resolution. We'll continue to follow this closely. Stay with us.